Good morning, good afternoon, guys. How are you? Welcome back. My name is Kishore Ambakar. I'm the co-founder and the president and the CTO for LearnSoft. We are going to talk today about skill gap and competency analysis, and how the learning management system and the talent management system can help you achieve those finding gaps and rectifying those gaps, which is related to learning. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it today. Again, welcome everyone. Wonderful. Okay, so what we are going to learn: how can we identify gaps in your organizations, right? Because identifying gaps is very important so that the employees which are assigned to certain tasks can complete those tasks efficiently. How does the learning management system and the talent management system, which can help you to find those gaps, rectify those gaps, and identify certain unexpected job openings? How can I fill that? It's kind of goes towards the succession planning. Find out the hot job positions which needed to be filled up in the organization, and how does the LMS and the TMS can help you. We're going to do a short demo where we can see on how the administrators can create a learning paths and the reportings which are driven. There are some of the clients which we serve which uses our learning management system, whether they are health systems like National Health, the Northwells, the Sparrows, or also in the local state government like the state of Kansas. Okay, so as everybody know, there is a shortage of talent. Now, I would say there is not a shortage of the talent. The talent is there, but it is just not rightly focused. We have seen that a lot in the healthcare, where the RNs, the nurses, they're burned out. They want to be in the healthcare, but they want to come out of the health system and maybe join the doctor's office, a little bit more relaxed. How can we do that so that there is a talent shortage for the certain positions which are there? How we can fill that? Okay, so that's the most important part which we wanted to talk today with finding those gaps. 76% of the employees says that um, they the training can help, the continuous training and the development, as you've seen mostly in the healthcare, with American Heart Association trying to do a low dose, high frequency type of thing so that you don't have to do all the training in once. It can be spread across and it can be used in the specific job positions. So we have seen that trend which is happening, right? But everything boils down to the skills and gaps. And there are three main aspects of the skill gap, right? The first skill gap is the functional gap. For me, doing certain job, right? If I'm an RN or if I'm an employee in the transportation department, is there a certain intellectual or a functional gap which can be identified because the profile of a user has certain skills and the job requirement requires certain skills, and also the levels of the different skills, whether it's a beginner's, whether it's an intermediate, or whether it's an expert level. So that is one type of skill. The second type of skill is your knowledge gap, right? Just understanding that what is needed to fill this job. And if we can define those job positions correctly with various attributes of that job positions, and that can be requirement basis, that can be skills and competency basis. And the third one, which is most important, is your performance gap. Every organization creates some type of goal for every year, which has certain pillars. For healthcare, I wanted to make sure that the patient safety is one of the goals for me. Patient satisfaction is one of the goal for me. But the learning is one of the goal for me. Even in the States, we have specific goals, right? We have retentions around that. Now, those goals are created at the organization level, but once this gets cascaded down to me as an employee, how does that relate to me? How does my skills are going to be aligned towards those goals so that when it cascade goes up, whether the goal is achieved or not? So that is the most important crux about the skill gap analysis. And how can we identify each of those three goals? And not just the identification part of it, How do we rectify that using learning? We are going to talk about this. Okay. The reporting matters a lot about it. Because if we do not find out either dashboards or some type of reportings, which are scheduled report, which gives me as a manager or me as an administrator or me sitting in the HR department, finding certain problematic section in my organization. How is IT doing compared to the accounting? How is the HR doing compared to the clinical? All those things, if I can drill it down to the problematic section in the organization, I can identify individuals through that. Because at the end of the day, everything comes down as an organization tree. So the reporting really matters, and how I can show that in the dashboard in the first glance to the managers, or how I can drill it down. And we are going to talk about it a little bit today on the reporting side. So let's go into a short demo. How LearnSoft's learning management system and the talent management system is going to showcase this to the end user, right? Or the managers. So I'm going to quickly go inside, and I logged inside the LMS and the TMS. As you see, and I logged inside, it will give me all the information about me, how I'm doing, right? Whether I'm doing everything good on my past due courses, the certifications, the licenses, and every certifications which we have, my calendar, it will give everything about me. But let me quickly go into my profile, because the profile has all the different things about me, right? Because it has been integrated with your HR system, it has all the information about you. It also have your employee information. That means it tells me what employment type I belong to, what position which I hold, what's department or the cost center which I am currently attached to. The important part is the position which I hold, because depending upon the position, am I 100% compliant with my position? Also, what I can do for me is I can go and add certain skills to my profile. There are certain certifications which can automatically be triggered using my learning. Those are the certifications which are going to come in. There are certain evaluations which are associated. I can create my development plan. That becomes my personal goals. I can attach, or my managers can add different skills. I have certain skills. What are the level of the skills? I can add those comments. So what I'm doing right now, I am showing, or I am filling up, whether the system fills up, whether the manager fills up, whether the HR teams fills up. But right now my profile is complete. And once the profile is complete and the job position is correctly defined, I can click on the competency and the skill gap analysis. And once I do that, what it's trying to do is it's trying to compare how I am compliant with my current position. So my current position says that I need certain competencies and skills. I need a point of care. You know what? I don't have it. But it not just gives you your gaps, it will suggest what are the courses you can take, what are the learning you can take to complete and fill those gaps. I can actually take this ACLS renewal course, and it will give me that it is being held 3 times. I can pick, maybe I need to go on 24th of this month, and I save it. I can automatically enroll in that course, and once I enroll in that course, then I can satisfy that my skill, and maybe 89% satisfaction can jump to 95%. Now I can do the exact same thing. I can do it for my, because I career path in the next 2 or 3 years is becoming a manager. When I switch that to the manager view or the manager position, now it will start comparing, and it will start grooming me that what is needed to become a clinical manager in my organization. So me and my manager together work towards a common goal. We can add the multiple steps in my career path. I can go through my performance reviews, and I can add that this is my next development path or my next career path. And it will start assigning those things to you. Now that is what the front end look like. That is what the manager, when he goes into my profile, looks like. But let's quickly jump inside and see how the position has been defined. So I'm going to log in into the system, which can tell me how this position of an RN is defined. So let me log in. And I'm logging as one of the administrators where I can manage all the different positions in the system. Now, typically, you don't have to create these positions in the learning management system because it is being tied up to your HR system, whether it's a Workdays of the world or whether it's a Oracles of the world, Infos of the world, any HRIS system where your employee record resides, right? So I'm going to go inside user management and I'm going to click inside job position. It will give me all the different job positions which are there in the system. Now, LearnSoft or learning management system never created this. This was created in the HR system. If they create a new a position there, it will automatically bring that position here because we have a web API integrations, we have an IT feed integrations, so everything will come here. Let's go into a little bit more detail here, right? We can go inside RNs. That was a position which I had that sample user assigned to. When I go inside the RN, it will give me the detail of that position. What job position it belongs to, what is a job class, what is a job code. If there are any process level associated to that, you can define those process levels. And then the next are the three main attributes which define the RN in my organization. What are the different requirements which we have? I can see different certifications requirement for that positions, minimum experience, maximum experience. I can go in and add new requirements. And the new requirements can be mental demand, physical demand, all the requirements I can add so that it can tell me what is an RN in my organization requirement wise. Then I can add competencies and skills. What is needed, what skills are needed to become an RN in my organizations, and I can go ahead and add certain skills to that, right? I can give different levels to that, those skills. So those skills will be added inside, and it can be multiple skills, right? And then the last attribute here is your performance review. To become a manager, I need your interpersonal skills to be excellent, right? I need your clinical knowledge to be excellent, and those are coming from your yearly performance reviews. So the combination of all those three defines a job position in my organizations. And once that definition is complete, a person or employee belongs to this job position. Now, as soon as I attach that, and again, that is all coming from the data, which is a user Bible, which is your HR system. And when it flows through LearnSoft as a learning management system and the talent management, now I can start comparing. That's the place where I can find out gaps. And not just gaps, because each of this requirement has a learning attached to it. Like interpersonal skills, how I can improve it. Take these two courses. Two of them are online. One is instructor-led. If I complete those three courses, I will be proficient in the interpersonal skills. I can define this entire infrastructure. And once that is done, now I can do the skill gap analysis, the ones which I showed you. And on top of that, now we can do succession planning, because now I can go and find out who will be my next CNO, who in the organization itself can take that position. Maybe they are not ready yet. They are only 75% ready, but how I can groom them rather than going outside and hiring. I can do internal grooming. And that is the power what we get using the LearnSoft's learning management system and the talent management system. So that's the quick demo side of it. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. So what we are learning, first thing, how to identify the skills, right? How to identify those gaps in your organizations by creating those profiles, by attaching the attributes of profile. When people gets assigned to that job positions, the comparison will start happening. We can start identifying those, and not just identifying. Now we can recommend training so that they can fill those gaps, right? How to show the LMS can fill the positions? Same thing. Once she starts identifying the individual, now I can identify the position, which is the hot position. We need some succession planning here. And the managers can start looking at different reports. This is one of the sample reports which can give you the job performance versus the job evaluations. What are the different requirements? What are the different levels of those? How the person actually uh, got those skills, and are there any missing skills associated to that? It can be reported on. It can be automatically assign those courses. Okay, so those are the part which we learned today. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, because the skill gap analysis and the competency gap analysis is a key component for the success on the employee engagement. The employee will know that the organization is helping them to grow, not just on what they currently do, but even 2 years, 3 years down the line, because I have a clear career path. Not just my career path, but inside those career path, how can I improve? How is the organization starts grooming me so that I can achieve my career growth? That's the beauty of the power module which we have here, which is the skill track and competency gap analysis and succession planning. Any questions you guys have? I'm going to open for questions. So let's take some of the questions. I'm going to look on my chat and see whether I have some questions here. Okay, so one of the question here which came up is can we identify different skills with different levels? Absolutely. Can I create a skill which is, let's say, maybe as simple as Microsoft Excel? Am I a beginner? Am I intermediate? Or am I an expert in that? So skills is not just one way. Each skill has its own attribute, which is there's different levels. It also has, each skill has its own, what we call as courses or learning objects. That means to achieve those skills, you can offer certain training. And that training can be, as I said, it can be online-based training, it can be webinar-based training, or it can be a third-party training from outside, all that, or maybe a blended learning type of training. So yes, to answer your questions, the skills can have different levels. The second question came here. Does user belong to multiple positions? And each position can have its own skill requirements? Absolutely. We are very much proponent of a single profile, whether it's and the profile should carry right from my employment to my termination. It's a one single profile. Doesn't matter whether I belong to two different positions. I might be an RN in oncology, but I'm also a secondary RN in the children's hospital. Still, it's me, one person, right? So the skills might be two different skills because I hold two different positions. And those two different positions can still be tracked. I can still find gaps, and I can still recommend training or auto assign certain training, and I can manage my two positions. Now, it is just not two, it can be any number of positions in the health system. Sometimes you go and purchase other health systems, right? I'm put temporary on some other project. Now that became my temporary position. What are the skills which are needed to achieve that? That can be all tracked. There's one more question which came up. Can the system differentiate between skills and competencies? Absolutely. There are different types. There are skills which are needed to perform certain positions, and some are the competencies which are related, right? Now, the competencies can be clinical competencies which I need to showcase at the time of the new hire orientation. Or maybe I have to always take it during my performance review. The example which I gave you before was the AHA, American Heart Association. I need to do ACLS or a BLS or a PALS every quarter, and I need to showcase that. I need to go physically work on that mannequin, and I can perform whether I can do the compression techniques correctly or I can do the breathing techniques correctly. Maybe I have to show it to a AHA certified nurse, and then only he can satisfy. And all those competencies can be attached to your profile. So yes, you can differentiate between different skills and competencies. There's one more question which came up. Can the courses related to the skills be assigned automatically? Absolutely. There are two ways in LearnSoft's learning management system you can assign skills and its association to the courses. The one way is what we call as a bulk upload, where the manager or whether the administrators or whether the HR department can assign skills one by one or in group. But there is an automated way, what we call as an assignment scheduler, where it can automatically assign skills based upon certain positions. If I'm in IT and I need 5 skills at the time of new hire or at the time of every 6 months or every year, because I need to make sure my PCI certifications is up to date, my HIPAA certifications are up to date. I want to make sure that the end users, the employees, they don't have to go and worry about that and find those things and assign it to themselves. Let the system take that burden. Let it automatically assign. Either they can assign one time, or maybe they can assign automatically. And automatically can be a recurring basis, right? It can be recurred on my anniversary. It can be recurred on my birth date or a higher date, or maybe on a hard-coded due dates. That means every January, everybody will assign a renewal. System can automatically assign those. And with that skills, after they find the gap, it can also assign learnings. And the learning can be also assigned periodic learning, micro learning, instructor-led learning, webinar learning, doesn't matter. Or maybe even an external training, because I need to take certain courses from Elsevier, or I need to take certain from Lippincott. I can do those things. So yes, to answer your questions, yeah, we can do it automatically. So that's what we are going to talk today, is mainly related to the skill gap and competency analysis. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you have any questions or want to schedule a demo, we are always available here at LearnSoft. You can reach us at info@learnsoft.com. Again, my name is Kishore Ambakar. You want to reach out to me directly, you can reach out to me straight at LearnSoft or on my LinkedIn.